Welcome to the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor Podcast Health and Wellness Series, brought to you by Renew You, Natural Health and Beauty, where we make wellness feel possible and turn everyday choices into stronger living. Each episode brings you uplifting conversations, local resources, and practical tips to help you look better, feel stronger, be emotionally balanced, and more connected to the community around you. So take a breath and settle in, because feeling better starts right where you are.
Welcome, good neighbors. Today we have Francesca Scerbo from Balanced Nutrition. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure to have you on the show and learn a little bit more about you. So without further ado, why don't we jump in? And for those that aren't familiar with Balanced Nutrition, why don't you explain a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So Balanced Nutrition is the name of my nutrition coaching company. So as I'm going to inform you all today, so I am a nutrition coach. So what I do is I customize nutrition plans based on each individual's nutrition needs. Think of it like personal training for your nutrition. So it's a one size fits you approach to health and wellness. And what I do is I sit down with my clients and I work with their whatever it is they're looking for, what their goals are. Maybe if they have some blood work from their doctor, where their doctor wants them to maybe focus on their diabetic A1C or their cholesterol or their blood pressure or their inflammatory markers, I help them use food to heal internally, to help them get on a really good nutrition program that's not necessarily a diet, but it's a lifestyle change.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it. So what sets us apart from traditional dieting programs?
I hate that word. Diet is a recipe for disaster. Diet is disaster. So really, I don't like to use the word diet. And the difference between a lifestyle program and a diet is, in order for one to have proper nutrition, their nutrition has to fit their lifestyle. So if you're a busy mom or dad, if you have a high stress job, if you have different hours where you work, your food needs to work around that. So I help people kind of navigate through that, in addition to helping them get healthier, whether that's to lose weight, improve their biomarkers. When you're in the word diet automatically for people is like that scary word that means I'm never going to be able to have that cake, or I'm never going to be able to have my indulgence. Not true. It's just, if once you reach your goals, then yes, but it's about figuring out what works for you. So the diet always means that, like, I'm going to just get rid of it and then I'm going to bring it back, where the lifestyle is more, how do I implement all of this into a well-rounded wellness program?
So what are some of the misconceptions people have then about just generally eating healthy?
I think people think that they need to eat bland to eat healthy, and that's not true. And I think people also think that they won't ever be able to eat out to be healthy. I think that we kind of get overwhelmed with social media and what a lot of people are putting out there that aren't professionals like myself. They're just following a plan that works for them and looks really cool, and they social media produce it. I like to state real facts. I like to kind of state what it is that I'm doing and what I know through my studies, because I have my master's in clinical nutrition and I also have my bachelor's in exercise science. So having the two together, exercise and nutrition, really does help. Really what I think happens is they feel that everything that they're going to eat is going to be a green juice or chia pudding or just bland white rice. And that's not necessarily true. It's all going to be based on what it is your goal is going to be. And there's some great recipes. I have actually 3 cookbooks that are on Amazon. You can search it through my last name. And I put great, healthy, simple, easy recipes in there that when my clients are using them, they're like, wow, I can't even believe I'm eating this. And I feel full, satisfied, and like I had a really good meal.
Nice. So what led you to get into the world of nutrition and wellness to start off with?
Great question. So everybody has a story, and I have mine, obviously. So I spent my younger teenage years basically body shaming myself. I was an anorexic teenager. So I was basically at the point of no return. And people like myself, exercise professionals, family, friends, nutrition coaches helped me kind of get back to my usual life self, because I was on the brinks of going into an institution to get some help, and it just that wasn't going to happen for me. So I was able to, through the coaching and the guidance of my family, get the help of nutrition coaches and fitness coaches. And when I saw what they were able to do for me, I knew I had to be doing something like that in my own life. So I went and got my bachelor's. I got my personal training certification. I teach Pilates. I went back at 40 years old, which is crazy, but I did, to get my master's, because I really wanted to dive into the clinical part of nutrition, where it's more about the food, not about the supplements. It's about the food, because you can't out supplement poor nutrition and you can't out exercise a poor diet. So I wanted to really understand how nutrition could continue to help the masses, which is why I decided to specialize in gut health, which everybody's talking about. The new one is hormones. Everyone's talking about hormone health. A lot of that is really, affected by the food we eat, inflammatory foods, seed oils, going back to the basics, certain types of nutrition plans, and certain, I'll use that word, diet. You have the Mediterranean diet, the carnivore diet, the seafood diet. So all of those things have a place, but they're just not all for everybody. So taking little components of everything and putting them into a program for an individual that has certain needs is really what I like to do. And I did it for myself. And I've evolved throughout my 25 plus years in this business to, with my own health. So I know it can be done.
So you mentioned gut health. Why has that been such a huge topic lately?
So I've been doing a lot of talks throughout Southwest Florida on this topic, and I've personally dealt with GI issues. I had acute IBS. I've had GERD. I've worked with a lot of people that have multiple types of GI stuff, but your gut is the second brain of your body. It's where your immune system is kind of at its most productive. So when we're not taking care of it, when we're stressed, when we're feeding it poor food, when we're giving it alcohol and high sugars, we're actually inflaming our system, and we're making our insides sicker. And our stomach is made up, especially the gut, is made up of different microbiomes, your probiotics and your prebiotics. I think that we've gotten so into that term, like, I just take a probiotic, it's great, but not every probiotic is designed for everybody. So you have to make sure you kind of talk with your doctor, understand what's going on, and then use the food first. Because a lot of times, if you just kind of do some sort of an elimination plan, which is what I have some of my clients do with guidance, you can really start to heal the gut by healing the inflammation. So GI and gut is massive, because a lot of people have very different types of autoimmune.
So you spoke about that. But what are some of the common signs your gut may need some attention?
Oh, bloating, gassy. You can have, bathroom issues. You really can tell it could be a lot of belching. The thing with GI, Jim, is that everybody's symptoms are different. That's why it's not just a blanket statement for, if you have IBS or you have colitis or you have GERD, it's this. It's when I work with my clients, we try one thing, and if it doesn't work, we pull that out. We try something else. We pull that out. And then we try to find what works, because everybody, like I said, everybody's different. So that's why the GI world is really interesting, because there's a lot of different medications. Not a lot of the medications work for everybody. And there's a lot of ways that you can heal it just by calming the internal inflammation with food.
Now, is there maybe a simple change that listeners today could implement that would help support a healthier gut?
Watch gluten.
Big thing,
Gluten
right?
I'm an Italian girl, and I get it, and I have
Right.
a gluten sensitivity, but watch gluten. Gluten and sugars are a disaster for your GI system, because a lot of it is ultra processed. And a lot of the functional medicine doctors that I follow and that I admire are all talking about how this ultra processed food wave is really hurting us. And a lot of that is everything in a box. And although pasta tastes delicious, it's really, how many times a week are we eating it? What size are our portions? There's a lot of really great alternatives executives that I love to teach the people that I work with that they can use as substitutions for pasta. I don't take it out unless you have an issue. But if you're really looking to heal the gut, try a little bit of an elimination. Take out gluten for at least 2 weeks and see how you feel. And I guarantee people that take it out and then put it back in start to feel the symptoms instantaneously.
And everybody's a doctor nowadays because they can
Yeah.
Google it, right? So
Yes,
how do you,
ChatGPT is
right,
the new doctor.
right? So how do you approach working with clients that feel overwhelmed or get conflicting health information?
What I love to do is kind of, we're sitting down talking right now. I love to kind of do a little bit of hand holding. This is a baby step process. We're not where we are in our health overnight. This has been years of potentially poor information or bad habits or high stress. So I like to take the individual and kind of let them understand that I get it. Look, from a person who had had a severe eating disorder, I was on the other side of it too. There's two different ways: people who are overweight, people who are underweight, people who are not healthy due to different types of medical diagnoses. So there's so many different variations to what's going on. But I like to baby step the process. I do not overwhelm people at the beginning. You get a meal plan when we start, and we keep breaking it down all the time. And we go with what you're comfortable with. I don't go in and say everything has to be out of your pantry by tomorrow morning. We don't do that. We take the baby step process. Tell me what you're currently doing, and then we can make the changes from there.
Absolutely. So let's talk about women and health for a minute here. Many women struggle with the fatigue, weight changes, hormone shifts. What role
Mhm.
does nutrition play in helping them feel their best?
So I think what happens for women, speaking from one herself, is we tend to undernourish ourselves. Because we're trying to lose weight, because all of a sudden this hormone bubble exploded, and out of nowhere we have a belly we never had. We're not able to lose weight the same way that we used to. We have hot flashes, we have mood swings, we have it all. And that was one of the reasons I wrote my third book, which is a cookbook called Eat to Beat Your Hormones, is because I needed to come up with a way to not just exercise, because what happens too is women out exercise their nutrition, and we elevate our cortisol levels. When we elevate our cortisol levels, that's your internal inflammation. Your body will not let you lose weight. So what are we doing? We're doing so much cardio. Women, I can't tell them enough, and all of my talks, don't lift the pink weights, lift weights. Lift something that you're comfortable with, because muscle density is actually so much more beneficial for increasing your metabolism. And when it comes to food, again, cutting back on the amount of gluten that we're eating real food, a lot of fiber, that actually helps. And protein. So many of us are not hitting our protein goals. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I don't hit my protein goals every single day. It's hard. It's really hard. I work with a lot of even my men who are doing macros. It's hard for them to hit that number. So I start with a baseline of like, aim for 100 grams a day. Start with that. So there's a tip I can give you guys.
I
Aim
love
for
it.
100 grams and see where you go from there. Start your day with protein, 30 grams. Start your day with 30 grams of protein. You'll be surprised that it just doesn't happen. So the food is really going to be beneficial. And when I do hormonal coaching with a lot of the women, and they start with that, they start to instantaneously feel the change, because the sugars and the carbohydrates in our bodies are what's dropping our, it's like you have a spike and you have a drop. Also, as women go through hormones, we have something called insulin sensitivity and metabolic syndrome, which means that our insulin's kind of all over the place, because our hormones are. We're working with our thyroid, our pituitary glands. We have estrogen, progesterone, all of those things. So we really need to make sure that we're not oversaturating our body with those things, with overexercising, overproducing one macro, which would be a carbohydrate, and undernourishing our proteins and
Absolutely.
strength training.
Our bodies are constantly changing. So, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit here too, but what used to work, what we used to eat, what used to work doesn't work anymore. We need to change our
Mhm.
routine, much like our body is changing.
Correct. And I think that, and it's tough because a lot of people don't like to eat breakfast. A lot of people don't know what to eat. And if you have a job that's, I got to be out the door really quick, like my work days start at, I'm up at, 4:45 and I'm at the studio by 6:30, 7 o'clock the latest. So for me, I don't wake up and eat stuff. I make sure I always plan. So I bring stuff with me. There's a lot of different things you can do. The key to a successful nutrition plan is exactly that, planning. You need to like go to the supermarket, you need to meal prep, you need to know what you're going to do every day. It doesn't have to be perfect, but an idea, like some sort of a guideline of what you want to do to see the results that you want to see.
Absolutely. Because when you impulse buy, you're buying the things probably aren't the best for you, right? Because you're just hungry
Oh,
and you
that's
want to
true.
satisfy that hunger.
That's right.
So what you've been in the industry for a while, dealt with a lot of different type of people and situations. What's been one of the most rewarding moments in your career so far?
I have to say, Jim, I've been so blessed for my whole career. It's been such an evolution. It's been a ride. I lived in New Jersey. I went through the pandemic where my business was shut down. I came down here to Southwest Florida and kind of relaunched everything. And I think the hardest thing is getting people to understand the importance of your health. Especially after, what we went through. It's so important to really it's important to have fun. Here, I named the company Balance for just that. If you don't have balance in your life and you're just all one and not the other, there's a complete disconnect. And I think it's really hard for people to understand that if you put the work into it, if you understand, which is why I love to educate, then it's really not as complicated. But seeing people kind of going all in really fast. That's why I'm not a big New Year's resolution girl, because your New Year's resolutions will die the third Friday of January. Because it's just you're going in too fast. You're trying to work out every day, you're trying to eat clean, but for the last 6 months you didn't. So it's that's not the way to start it. The way to start it is understanding, like, make it one goal. My goal is I wanted to go to the doctors next time and have the best blood work possible, or better than I had it before. That's one goal. Then the next goal is maybe I want to be able to fit into a pair of pants. I don't use a scale a lot with my clients because it's defeating. So I always say to them, pick something you haven't worn, because when you lose inflammation, you lose weight because you lose bloat. And then if you're strength training, your body reshapes. But it's really, I think the biggest one is just getting people to understand how important it is. It's so easy to just say, my family's in town next time. I'm going on vacation next time. I'm going to do that. Just keeps adding up. And honestly, time just keeps going. So, grab onto the reins and get going, and hire professionals that really can help you.
Absolutely. As we get older, time flies, as they say, right? So,
It
ma-
does.
start slow and just, make it a routine. You don't,
It
like you said,
does.
you don't
It
have to
does.
jump in right away, because, that's what defeats a lot of people. Are like, oh, this is too much work. But if you gradually do it, it becomes a habit, and
Yeah,
eventually people are healthier. So
true.
if you could, I think you mentioned this, but I'm going to ask you, if you could leave listeners with one message about health and nutrition, what would it be?
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. But the first one would be is understand understand how to read a food label, understand you know, the importance of getting in good quality protein, understand the importance of reducing stress, understand the importance of hydration, understand the importance of sleep. It's not just about the exercise and the nutrition, it's about the whole body. So if you're not sleeping right, if you're not drinking water, if you're not eating real food, um, your body is definitely going to tell you, like, hey, something's going on.
It's definitely, like you said, a balanced, program, right? You got to balance everything out. You can't go too heavy on one side or the other. I
But you
love it.
gotta start somewhere. So you've gotta, even if you just take one little section, in the health coaching world, you have a perfect pie, and your pie is different slices. It's family, it's fun, it's finances, it's your career, it's your health. It's if all of that's kind of all over the place, you're not going to find your circle, but you need to just take a little bit from each section and get 1% better, like every day.
Love it. So how would our listeners go about connecting with you if they wanted to learn more about balanced nutrition or had some simple health questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got Instagram and I've got a YouTube channel and I have Facebook and I'm Francesca Scerbo. You can find me through both of them. I also have a website. It's my first and last name, francescascerbo.com. My 3 cookbooks are on Amazon. My 3 cookbooks are Fit Cuisine, Balanced Nutrition, Healthy Food Made Simple, and Eat to Beat Your Hormones. They're all on Amazon, or you can purchase them through the website. And, I'm pretty easily available if you do a Google search.
So what exciting things are coming up for you next in your business? Anything on the horizon?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of talks upcoming at some of the local areas here in Naples. I'm going to be doing a pretty big event in September. I am part of a group. If you guys see the Power Project book around Naples, I'm in that too. That's a great women's group, the Ladies Power Lunch. I'm super blessed to be there. Susie Sarver is amazing. So we're going to be doing some fun stuff over there. And yeah, I'm going to be doing some more content, potentially doing some more podcasts. So follow me on social media, stay tuned, say hi. There's a lot of good stuff coming up, and it's all education. And if anybody out there has any talks or educational things that they would like me to, kind of assist in, I am always willing to help educate, because that's where it starts.
Absolutely. You got to learn first. So thank you
right.
for doing what you do. Thank you for being such a good neighbor. And we hope to see you out in the community here soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you for spending this time with the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor podcast, health and wellness series brought to you by Renew You, Natural Health and Beauty. If today's episode helped you, share it with a friend and check the show notes for local resources and next steps you can try this week. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and remember, better days are built one breath, one choice, and one good neighbor at a time. Also, to nominate your favorite health and wellness expert to be on the show, go to fmbgoodneighbor.com, that's fmbgoodneighbor.com, or call 239-427-4100. Until next time, remember to Cabo Antilia, Wabo, and keep being a good neighbor.